Hey team, so today's video I wanted to go over how to train yourself to run faster and longer. And training yourself to be able to sustain your goal race pace for long periods of time definitely is an art form. It's not just about anybody can go out and run easy and relax for a certain amount of time, whether that's for a few minutes or for a few miles or a few kilometers. But it really is and truly is a art form to be able to teach the body to clear lactic acid faster than it's building up. And so I always emphasize a longer buildup for your, whether you're training for a 5K or a marathon race, whatever distance you're focused on. I think it's really key to focus on a longer buildup rather than a shorter buildup, because you're allowing your body time to adapt to the hard anaerobic workouts you're doing, and you're not trying to rush your fitness. I think a lot of times we try to get in great anaerobic shape in a matter of a few weeks or maybe even a couple months, and then we don't measure up to our expectations either in our workouts or in our races, when the problem really is we're just not giving ourselves enough time to properly prepare for the types of times that we're aiming for. Okay, so if you're trying to break a 4 hour marathon and your current best, say, is 4 hours and 30 minutes, it's going to take some time, definitely, and effort and patience on your part to drop another 30 minutes off of that time. And you being able to do that in a matter of, say, 2 months, like 8 weeks versus 20 to 24 weeks, is going to be a tougher task, because again, you got to give yourself time to adapt to the hard anaerobic workouts you're doing. And the problem is it takes the body about 3 to 4 weeks to adapt to any stress placed on the body. So for the 4 hour marathoner trying to break or 4:30 marathoner trying to break a 4 hour marathon, that individual has to get in the type of shape where they can handle running under 9 minute mile pace for mile repeats, or running well under or under 5:41 kilometer pace. So that individual has to be doing those kilometer reps, say closer down toward around 5:10 to 5:15 per rep. So again, you want to train the body where you're running well below your goal race pace, but again, that's going to take time. So this question of how to train yourself to run faster and longer really can be answered mainly about being patient and thinking long term, having a belief in delayed gratification, knowing that the results that you're going for are going to take a longer period of time rather than a shorter period of time. And it's not to make anybody that's highly motivated feel like they can't get it done in a short amount of time, because it's still possible. But again, a lot of times athletes, and I understand this because I dealt with it too, they second guess themselves when they don't get the results that they want as quickly as they want them. Okay, and really what it is just you need either several more months of training or even several more years of preparation before you get to a point where you can train yourself to run faster and longer and be able to sustain that goal race pace that you're aiming for over the entire duration of the race. Obviously, there's a lot of things that go into running faster and longer. How you're preparing in training. Are you spending a higher percentage of your weekly volume training closer to your goal race pace? Because if you're running too much of your weekly volume at too aerobic of an effort, you're not elevating your heart rate long enough and high enough to build that adaptation. So you have to stress the energy systems of the body adequately and for a long enough period of time before you get to a point where you really can get out in the race, sustain your goal race pace, and even pick up the pace in the latter stages of the race when everybody else is slowing down. So it's thinking long term. It's thinking about your weekly preparation, how you're setting up your training. Are you running most of your weekly runs easy and relaxed, or even moderate effort? Are you spending once per week training on the track or on the roads at VO2 max effort, which again is running 95 to 100% of your max heart rate effort? Are you doing tempo runs? Okay, a lot of athletes, they will build their mileage base. They'll be very consistent with their mileage, but again, you have to have a plan in place in order to run faster and longer. Okay, and that's what I've tried to set up on RunDreamAchieve.com. not only with the training plans and the running courses, but also with not only these videos too. I try to do the best I can to at least share some strategies and tactics that I hope athletes around the world will be benefited from. Obviously, I'm just one voice among billions of other athletes out there and people out there. But that being said, I think that to get the best results, focus on training smarter rather than harder. Okay, higher mileage is not a guarantee that you're going to run faster and longer. You have to stress yourself, really run at hard efforts at least a couple times per week, and then make sure that after you're done with those hard anaerobic workouts or those long runs that you're doing, that you're giving yourself ample time to adapt and to recover from those hard workouts. Again, the real benefits of our hard training are going to happen in the rest recovery period. Okay, Google the word super compensation. Okay, it basically states that we're about 2 to 3 times weaker immediately following a hard workout. Okay, but after around 48 hours after that hard workout is complete, your body bounces back and you're even stronger than you were prior to the start of that workout. Okay, so rest and recovery are absolutely essential when it comes to preparing for middle to long distance running. And in order to be successful, you have to have that tenacity. You have to have that belief and motivation to continue to prepare, continue to train, and not lose enthusiasm when you're not getting the workouts or not getting the types of splits that you're wanting in training or in the races early on. Okay, I promise you, if you stay consistent and you're persistent in your preparation, you're eventually going to be able to run much more economically or more efficiently in your race. Um, you've focused on what the world's top distance runners, middle distance runners focus on, which is physical training as well as mental training. You've spent at least 10 to 15 minutes on a daily basis mentally rehearsing, seeing yourself getting across the finish line with the goal time that you have in mind. Um, you've made sure that you've paid attention to your hydration. You've also worked on your pacing in your races and in training, because sometimes we can go out and do our long runs and run far too fast in the early few miles or few kilometers in those long runs, and then we pay for it in the end, because again, it's a combination of both hydration and improper pacing that causes major um, problems in overall performance and or overall finish times. Okay, that's probably one of the two biggest mistakes that, especially for those athletes in the longer races, make. They're not taking in enough calories, they're not hydrating well enough, and they're getting too hyped up in the early stages of their race in the first few miles of the race or the first few kilometers. In the shorter races, yes, you definitely still have to pay attention to your pacing too. If you're running a 5K, you don't want to try to win a 5K in the first mile. Okay, I always tell athletes, if you're running a 5K, at least this was what worked best for me. I ended up running 14:18 for 5K. Is don't try to make a move in the race until you get to that first mile. Okay, wait until you get to the first mile, then make it an all-out 2.1 mile race rather than a 3.1 mile race. Let your competition go out far too fast, far too aggressive in the first mile, and then you catch them, especially in that last mile or that last 2 kilometers of the race, 1.6 kilometers of the race. So that's my answer in terms of how to train to run faster and longer. Think long term, believe in what you're doing, maintain your enthusiasm, have a plan in place, have a support system around you, whether that's family members, teammates. If you don't have teammates or people to push you, you have to rely on your work ethic, and don't think that just because you don't have genetic talent that you can't make up for it with your work ethic, because you can. It's the only difference is it's going to take you a much longer time to get to that end result than, say, somebody that has a great deal of genetic talent that might not take quite as long to get to the same type of time that you're aiming for. So I hope this video is helpful for you all. Feel free to leave me a comment below, like and share this video. I definitely appreciate that so other people, other athletes and non-athletes around the world can see these videos. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so when I make new videos, you'll be notified of it. And I look forward to hearing your comments. I will definitely respond to them as well. And I will talk to you all in the next video.